All right, so sorry that took 40 minutes. There was a lot to go over, but I've got all of my questions done. Now I am happy to take any on-the-fly questions you guys have, any comments. So to get in line, why don't we just have you guys comment? Let's stop any communication on the chat except for who wants to ask a question. And so just raise your hand per se, and then I'll call on you, and then you can either jump on chat and ask me, or you can type your question out.
Okay, hello. So what I was thinking is, I just broke top 10,000, and I'm wondering if the new Ahsoka will stop the cut meta.
You're wondering if Ahsoka will stop the cut meta?
Cup, yes.
I think I don't know. I mean, she's definitely good, but I don't know if she's going to hold a candle to Cup.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. All right, next up. Better to have a bunch of Gear 10 tunes or less Gear 11 tunes? You know, that's a good question. And what I would say is you really need to make sure that your arena team is pristine first. So if you are sacrificing your arena team and spreading yourself thin by getting a bunch of guys to Gear 10, when you could focus on one arena team and have all of them at Gear 11, I would say that it's better to have less Gear 11 tunes in that case. Now, Gear 10 is still pretty viable, especially when it comes to Heroic Tank. They can do pretty decent damage still in Heroic Tank, so it's good to have a lot of those guys at your disposal. I would just say be careful that you're not spreading yourself too thin on your farms. If you're farming more than, I'd say, 2 to 3 tunes at a time, you are probably spreading yourself too thin, unless you've got lots of money that you can dump into the game. If you do, I'm jealous. Congratulations. That's awesome. But if you're like me and you're free to play, you really can only focus on 2 to 3 at once. And I would say it's definitely better to get your arena team in shape, all Gear 11, Zetaed out, good to go, before you start focusing on everyone else. So that's a good question. All right, next up. And feel free to focus on anything you like. Keep it geared towards the future of the game and the meta and stuff, but I'm happy to take anything too. You know, I'm running Resistance team. Now, I do think it's worth mentioning. I have 2 Resistance teams in my arena shard currently. Both are able to crack the top 20. One is able to take first every day. And the team that he is running is obviously Zetas are going to be key. He's running a Zeta Finn. I'm actually pulling his team up right now so I can tell you exactly who. But from memory, Zeta Finn, Resistance Trooper, Ray. I'm having to scroll down too long, which is going to segue into what I have to say about Resistance. Man, he fell out of the top 50. Yikes. Either that or he changed his team. Well, we had a Zeta Finn leader. Oh, there he is. He's number 3. I just counted him out too early. All right, here's what he's running. Very interesting. He's running Zeta Finn, Resistance Trooper, Poe, B2, and R2D2. And he is able to take first every day. Now, here is the kicker to that is those Resistance teams are plummeting in the arena, more so than my Jedi team. And my Jedi team falls pretty hard. So something you need to be ready for if you're going to run Resistance is you are going to be a target. The question with arena teams is just as much who can I beat as it is who's going to target me. Everybody can beat you in the top 10 to 15 plus. It's just a fact. So the question is, when they're deciding who they're going to hit, are you going to be the easier choice? Are you going to be the less stressful choice? And that's who they're going to attack. I target Jedi teams and I target Resistance teams because they're easier than risking it against Chase. I can beat Chase, but I definitely have to hit it right. So that's just something you need to be aware of with Resistance. But I definitely think that R2D2 has put Resistance on the map in a viable way. They're just going to be targets, and so you're going to fall more in the arena. Guard has a question. In the meantime, I just need you guys to know how delicious this Mountain Dew is that I'm drinking. Oh, so if the Celtics come back and pull this off, what do you say you'd do again? Well, I did say I would eat my shorts and I would proclaim that the Jedi meta is not happening. But I don't think that's going to happen. Even if they win this game, I don't think it's going to happen. Since mods are back to 100%, do you recommend challenges or continue mods shop for creds? Since mods are back to 100%, do you recommend challenges or continue mod shop? Okay, here's what I recommend, Oski. Both, actually. It just depends on... Here's how I gauge the Cantina energy. Do I need somebody out of those Cantina nodes? So right now, there is not one toon in any of the Cantina nodes that I need right now. So I use all of my Cantina energy, 100% of it, for mods. Now, if you are needing Sith Assassin or Sith Trooper at the end, those are some really great tunes to have. That might be something that's pretty essential for you, as it is for a lot of people. I would say it's probably good to split it, because mods are always going to be important. The drop rate is so much better now, so you can get away with doing maybe half and half. But me personally, as cool as Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper are, I just don't see myself ever running them, so I'm not rushing to farm them. To me, it's more pertinent for me to try to find solid mods that I can put on my arena team right now to get more speed secondary, etc. So that would be what I would say. So cool. I saw a few others typing. How's your Jedi team holding up against triple cleanse with R2? It's shaky, to be honest. I am able to beat it, but I have to get good RNG. What I'm typically going against, that triple cleanse that Doc is referring to here, is Rex lead with General Kenobi, R2, and Chase, or with General Kenobi lead, Chase, Nihilus, R2, those kind of teams. And really what it comes down to for me, with the team that I run, and for those of you who don't know, I'm running Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, Zeta Yoda, Anakin, General Kenobi, and Zeta Nihilus. And what it comes down to for me is how quickly can I beat General Kenobi? Because I always have to go for him first, because he's going to taunt. He's going to slow you down too much if you don't go for him right out the gate. So what I have to do is I have to land a Dispel by Qui-Gon Jinn so I can get everyone offense up. And then I have to kill General Kenobi fast enough. If I can kill General Kenobi before one of my guys dies, I win every time. If I can't, I lose every time. That's what it comes down to for me. How quickly can I kill General Kenobi? So I hold up well, but typically if we've got a really decked out triple cleanse team with R2-D2 and Chase and General Kenobi, if they're really, really well modded, I have a tough time against them. So... But I'm going to put R2-D2 in my team here soon when I'm done with him. Hopefully he helps me stay up there more. All right, next question. Will Rebel teams come back to the meta with the introduction of Ahsoka? Now, you might have missed the beginning of the session, Jar Jar, but I said absolutely. I do think that's going to happen, especially if you combine the fact that R2-D2 is a Rebel, Chase are Rebels, and Ahsoka is just a Rebel. I think that's some excellent synergy. Throw General Kenobi in there, and that's going to be your new meta, in my opinion. How's R2 on defense? I don't have a super good read on that. I know that most of the teams that I am facing that run R2-D2 suck to go against. And the reason why is because he's usually fast, and he usually stealths everyone, and then he burns you, literally and figuratively. So I think on defense, he's pretty solid, especially with the teams I'm going against. Mods for R2, it depends on which bonus you want. So if you look at R2-D2's Zeta ability, and you are going to want to get Zeta to R2-D2's number crunch, he gives, let me just read it. At the start of each battle, R2-D2 gains 10% match protection for each droid ally, 10% offense for each Galactic Republic ally, 10% health for each Rebel ally, and 10% potency for each resistance ally. So say you're running R2-D2 with Jedi. Jedi have synergy with R2-D2 because of the Galactic Republic tag, which I almost wet myself when I saw them give the Jedi, because that meant I could run R2-D2 with my Jedi and have synergy. Yay me. R2-D2 gains 10% offense for each Galactic Republic ally. So if you're running R2-D2 with 4 Jedi, that's 40% offense up. And then at the start of each battle, when R2-D2 revives, other droid, Galactic Rebel allies, and resistance allies gain 10% of R2-D2's max protection, offense, health, and potency. So it's kind of like this double gain where R2-D2 is gaining offense for each Galactic Republic ally he's got, and then he's dishing it back. So it's going to buff your whole team. That's like a 40% buff on offense, which is sweet. So I would say if you're running R2-D2, you're going to want to give him the stat that the team benefits from the most. For me, that's offense. Obviously, he needs speed as well. Everybody needs speed. But when you consider, plus Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, who's also giving offense. So I'm really excited to see what it's going to do to my team. So you're going to need speed so that R2-D2 can go as quickly as possible. He's already a pretty fast tune, but what you want to do is grant that stealth to people as quickly as possible. It's kind of going to be like a pseudo taunt where you can decide who's taunting. So cool. Great question on mods. And then obviously protection and health too. In fact, you just give him every stat. Give them all to him. All right, Kapuki's typing. My brother from Hawaii. Hit me. Who should I Zeta first Jedi-wise? Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn is going to be your clear-cut first Zeta for Jedi. And the reason why for now is because if you are running Jedi, you depend on that Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn leadership. For a lot of factions, there's tunes that you can put anywhere else, like Nihilus. I could give Nihilus a unique Zeta, and he could fit in several different places. However, with Jedi, the only Jedi, the Jedi Zetas you have are, off the top of my head, Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, Zeta Yoda, who am I forgetting? Barriss. Is there anyone else that I'm missing? I feel like there's one more. Is that really it? Those are the only Jedi Zetas. So Barriss Zeta, she sucks. She doesn't work. Before they nerfed her, she was pretty solid. But now she's nice to have. Oh yeah, 2 for Yoda, that's right. But Yoda's leader Zeta is worthless, in my opinion. Zeta Yoda is nice to have. He's really good on a Jedi team. However, I don't really see him working from a synergy standpoint with any other team than Jedi. So if you want to give Zeta to Jedi, you need to start with Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, and then you need to give it to Yoda. And then you need to hope that Jedi Luke has an OP Zeta that you can add in August. Oh yeah, when that Jedi meta comes. Good question. Always. All right, who's next? Who's got another question? Who am I farming currently? Good question. So right now I have got my fast track farm on R2-D2, meaning I'm dumping all my resources into him right now. I'm only in need of, I think it's about 15 more shield generators and about 20 more Carbantes until I get him to gear 11. And then from there, I will focus my full efforts on Chirrut and Baze. And then from there, I might move to Ahsoka Tano, depending on what that's looking like. But I am going to prioritize Baze and Chirrut over Ahsoka Tano for now, because I just feel like it's been too long. I feel like they're going to be around for a while. Anakin Solo's question, Sith Assassin, Sith Trooper, or Death Trooper? It really depends on what you're running. I'm going to say with Death Trooper, I've never seen him ran in the arena in a way where it wasn't be. So I'm going to cross him off your list for you, Solo. Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper are pretty solid under a Nihilist leadership. Sith Assassin can do some serious damage as she ignores protection. She can really cripple a team fast. So I would say if you're doing Sith Assassin, do it with Sith Trooper. Go for both of those, especially if you have a good enough Nihilist. Which ship do I think is best? Man. See, this is a good opportunity for me to come clean to you guys and ask for your forgiveness for not caring enough about ships. And the reason why I need to confess this to you is because there's a really solid chance we're going to have a ships raid eventually. And if we're all being smart, all of you should be working on ships, and it should be a priority for all of us. So you heard it here first. Don't neglect your ships like I have been. I'm still farming them. I'm just pretty casual about it. I'm not as concerned about the arena as I should be. But yeah, sorry, Cypher. But I know TIE Advance is definitely one that a lot of people mention. I love Slave 1 when I do my fights. I know Scimitar is one of the solid ships out there. I haven't heard hardly anything about the Phoenix Squad ships really being that viable, which kind of surprises me. I don't really see them in the arena, so maybe they're just for pay to play at the top. But yeah, from what I've heard, they're not really present. So good question. Next up, you don't foresee a Chase nerf? No, I don't. If they were going to nerf Chase, they would have done it already. It's been a long time since Chase has come out. I mean, geez, several months since Rogue One. What I do foresee, though, Oski, is a legitimate counter to Chase. I don't know exactly how that would come, but there's no way that Chase can be the meta for that long. And make no mistake, the meta for the last several months, there might have been some shift in meta, but the real meta all the time has been Chase. That's been the meta the entire way. It's just who are you putting around Chase. So eventually we are going to have some kind of counter to Chase that is more legitimate. Now, again, Chase is beatable right now. You do not have to have Chase to beat Chase. I'm beating Chase with a Jedi set. And the way that I do it is I hide my Nihilist behind General Kenobi, and I'm able to annihilate Chirrut and then beat Baze. That's how I do it, but it's a pain in the butt to plan around. It really sucks. It's not a legitimate, I would say, counter to Chase, kind of like R2 is to the Maul evasion. So eventually we'll have something that will counter them. I don't know exactly how that will happen. I mentioned before, Boba Fett kind of is a counter to them. But that's about it. So I do foresee a counter to Chase eventually, though. It's got to happen. High five. What gear would you leave your pilots at if you were only gearing them up for ships? Well, it depends on how you're doing with ships. I mean, they're going to benefit the most from the highest gear, aren't they? From what I hear. Again, not my area of expertise on ships, but I'm seeing gear 8 from Cypher. Mr. Doc is working on a Chase team behind the scenes. Very interesting. What about GMT update? What do you mean by that, Chamu? I might not be understanding you right. Oh, Grand Moff Tarkin. Okay, when I see GMT, I was thinking of the standard time that people use. I actually didn't even look at Tarkin's rework. Did anybody look at it that can speak to that? Okay, Empire, let me read this. Plenty of community sleuths called it, but for those still wondering, we can confirm that Grand Moff Tarkin has arrived to our Empire Rework series, receiving a devastated faction pass. Head your squad with Tarkin's leader ability, Tighten the Grip, which now adds defense down on enemies that will go below 100% health on Empire character's turn. Each basic attack now increases potency. That's intriguing. And kind of like a Jin. While ultimate firepower now does additional damage based on potency, allowing you to set up a devastating attack. This is complemented with his special ability, Intimidation Tactics, which temporarily grants himself up to a 50% potency up buff. Lastly, Tarkin's ability arsenal is rounded out with a Callous Conviction, gaining defense equal to his potency, so it's going to be hard to beat. Cool. To me, that sounds really good. I don't think that's necessarily something that screams meta shifter to me, but it definitely sounds awesome. And throw maybe an OP Thrawn in there. Yeah, I would take notice. If you've got Tarkin, he definitely just got a lot better. How do you maximize what you can do as free to play? Ooh, that is a good question. Thank you for asking that, scumbag. It kind of feels funny to call you scumbag. I promise I think that you're a good guy. Where to begin? Let me state for the record, I am almost 100% free to play. I've been playing since November 2015, and I've spent all time $30 on the game. So in my opinion, that classifies me as free to play, especially if you consider a lot of the whales in this game are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on the game. So to maximize as free to play, one of the biggest things I would suggest, scumbag, is to get a good mentor, somebody who can really give you some good pointed advice. If you're at the beginning of this game, you really need to learn how to focus your farming in the right way. And when you're at the beginning of the game, it's important to farm the right teams first, which isn't necessarily chasing the meta immediately. And the reason why is because you need teams to get you through certain battles that a lot of us older players take for granted, like your credit heist. If you're at the beginning and you're not able to beat the top tier of credit heist, you really need to make credit heist a priority, because you are going to need to get all of those credits to level up all your characters, to upgrade your mods. You're going to need them to increase your star level. You need as many credits as you can get your hands on at first. So I would say one of the most fundamental pieces of advice I would give people wanting to maximize their free-to-play potential is to make sure you're getting your credit heist handled, and then to focus on your arena team. What's really nice about the way the arena works is it doesn't matter how big you are whaling it out. You can only put 5 toons in the arena. Only 5. So the squads that I am beating are immensely more deep than my squad. But my top 5 toons that I am putting in there for my arena team are very viable, and they're able to beat them. And so Cypher is currently drawing out a math equation here that I will sign off on, which is arena equals crystals, and crystals equal gear, and gear equals sustainability as you level up your toons. I've been able to level up R2D2 infinitesimally faster than I would have been able to otherwise, because I'm finishing at the top of my arena shard every day. So it's what you're going to have to accept as free to play is it just takes you longer to get to places, but it's still very attainable for you. You just need to make sure you've got all the pieces in place to start with. You got to have your credit heist in place. You've got to have a lot of those battles unlocked so you can farm the right gear and all of that. You've got to lay a good foundation, and then you need to focus on that arena team and make that arena team as solid as possible, and then you're competitive. I've got time for another 2-3 questions tops. Then I'm going to need to go. OG Hanworth Gearing. What does OG stand for? Stormtrooper? Do you mean Stormtrooper Han? Oh, Raid Han. Yeah, Raid Han definitely has his uses for original gangster. I don't know how I didn't know that. My bad, guys. Raid Han is very useful in heroic tank phase 4 if you're running him with the good rebel team. Unfortunately, as far as the arena, I think his time has passed. A lot of people used to run him. He was really great to get a first hit in, and that hit would stun. However, the dawn of auto taunters kind of neutered that and made it less useful. So I don't think that Raid Han is something you want to focus a lot of your efforts on, Jar Jar, especially because I just think that there's so many other great options right now. You're going to have Ahsoka Tano here in your collection, probably at 3 stars. She would be way better to invest in than Raid Han at this point. Late Night Joker, I might have missed a question like this before, but I'm currently in the process of farming a Wigs team. Is it still worth it for arena with these changes? I would say it depends on the age of your arena shard, Late Night Joker. I think Wigs is very worth it at the beginning of the game, and they're definitely an essential set for everyone's squad. However, if you've been playing for a long time, they're not as viable in the arena anymore. But for those younger teams, it's some of the only teams you can get to. Very viable, very powerful. They can one-shot most people. except for super good tanks. So yeah, I would say you're in Druidia. I'm guessing that you have a younger arena shard. Yeah, you're still early. Yeah, they're viable. Farm them. And if you compare them with Chase, do it. All right, any other questions? Oh, you have Chase. Yeah, then definitely farm wigs. That's good. I'll take one final question. Who wants it? Next Q&A topic, I'm not going to count this as my final question, but the next Q&A topic is going to be Heroic Tank Raid. So we're still working on an exact date for that, but I believe Doc is going to host that, and we're going to be gearing that especially towards you guys in Druidia and Ludicrous Speed, however anyone is invited. But that's going to be very much focused on getting ready for Heroic Tank. If you guys aren't aware, at the community level, my goal is to have all 4 guilds doing Heroic Tank. That's a bit of a feat. It's going to take a while. We've got a lot of new players in those younger guilds, and that's okay. But Heroic Tank is something that we want everyone to have an opportunity to be a part of. It's priority for us, and we're going to get you guys there. We just need everybody to be on the same page and willing to farm the right teams and work towards those teams, and then we'll do it. So that's part of it, is doing those Q&As. Do we have one last question? There it is. Okay, we got a couple. Okay. Kapuki, you can finish yours too, and I'll just hit them quickly because I do need to head on the way. Is it worth spending spare Galactic War currency to save up for full gear from the shard shop? That's a good question. I don't think that buying gear from the shard shop is as worth it as it is to buy character shards, like Darth Nihilus, Cypher is mentioning right now. And yeah, I think that's a tough one, Jar Jar, but I definitely think if you don't have anything worthwhile spending it on, it's definitely worth boosting up your shard shop currency and buying things that are relevant to you. Who am I Zetaing next? I am going to Zeta my R2D2. I actually have all of the Zetas saved up, but I am short Omegas, and I'm going to Zeta Number Crunch first. I don't think that the other Zeta is as solid to have. I think it's good, and I want to have it. That's probably going to be my Zeta after that. But for now, Number Crunch is the Zeta that I feel is more essential. So, okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for making this an awesome question-answer session. I thought that the questions you guys asked were very relevant and very fun to address. Exciting times in the game right now. We've got a lot to look forward to. Keep the discussion going and keep farming. And also on a personal level, thank you guys for making GID what it is. I am always, anytime that I talk about our community, I am so proud of what we've got going on here. I think that we've really found a way to, without becoming hardcore, enjoy the game to its fullest. And I love that we haven't compromised our quality of life in order to do so. I think it's really great, and we've got a great culture here. So thanks for doing all you guys do, and I'm going to head out now. So have a great night, guys.